Welcome, everyone. We are going to get started, and you are going to be so excited with my guest today. She is in our industry, but in a different way. So, I'm going to start off by letting her introduce herself and who her company is, and we will go from there.
Thanks, Marissa. I'm so excited to be here. My name is Kierstin Payne, and I am the Director of Enterprise Sales with CoverTree. And CoverTree focuses on manufactured housing insurance.
Awesome. What inspired you to be in the manufactured housing insurance sector?
It's a great question. So I've been in the insurance industry since 2011, focused on, quite a few different lines. But in my experience, I learned pretty early on that the manufactured housing industry and specifically the residents were very underserved.
Yes.
So when I found out about the startup that was focused on manufactured housing insurance for residents and renters, I jumped on pretty quickly because I felt like we could do much better than the industry did and the standards that were set as a whole. Yeah.
Yes, I love that. I love that. So, is that what's kept you passionate about this industry and staying in it?
Absolutely. I've been with CoverTree now for almost 4 years, and in my first role, I was hired to develop the internal sales agents.
Mhm.
So I really, well, I've been passionate about being a change in the industry and really treating those residents with the respect and integrity that they deserve. So we developed a team with that spirit in mind, and we've been really changing the game. And yes, it is a passion piece of mine because backing up to 2011, when I stepped into the insurance industry, I found that I was interested in insurance policies, and then I have a certain skill set for translating to people that, well, most human beings are not interested in insurance.
I
Therefore,
would be one of those.
I, I found that I was pretty well set. I just, my gift of gab maybe, or my translation skills. I don't know what it is, but I'm able to explain to others in layman's terms what this 40-page policy means.
Yes.
So yes, I've been able to continue that throughout my career in the insurance space. So
I,
it has translated well in the manufactured housing space. Mhm.
I love it. And I'm sure people appreciate you because in talking to you, I know you're the kind of person that goes above and beyond.
Mhm.
So I am sure they appreciate you because I know that I appreciate somebody like you who can explain the details and the questions that other people aren't willing to take the time to do, right? Even though it's their job. Sometimes when we call our insurance companies, they're like, okay, come on, what's next? What other question? And the way they talk to you, it's almost like we should know these things.
Right.
And I'm like, I'm calling you because I don't know these things and I need you to educate me, right? And I think that's something that's missing in our industry. We don't have a lot of people that are out there educating people that are in our industry and that customers that want to come in our industry, right? We don't have a lot of that. And so I really, really admire you for doing what you do. So thank
Thank
you.
you.
Yes, yes. So can you share a personal story or experience that has shaped your career path in this industry? I'm sure you
Um,
have many.
yes. So one of the things that really stuck out to me when considering what the founders were attempting to do is they wanted to bring technology to the manufactured housing space, right? And I'd had previous experience bringing technology to different channels within the insurance industry, and so it's a passion piece of mine as well. I really I love to embrace technology such that it makes our lives easier,
Yes,
right?
yes.
And so the fact that the owners were and the founders were willing to take on this endeavor, nobody else had done it yet. So being able to deliver, to deliver technology and address needs,
Yeah.
that's another thing that's really inspired me in this space, and it keeps me getting up every day. So.
Yes, yes. So is the technology part for Cover Tree, or is the technology part for Cover Tree to help customers, or is it both?
It would be for both with the addition of operators. So, excuse me, when we first started out, the goal was to bring technology to the insurance space specifically for manufactured home owners as well as renters.
Right.
And from that, that's when we began our partnerships with community owners and operators. And from there, based on understanding their needs, we have developed technology and will continue to develop technology that will support the industry, the residents first.
Yes.
That's our passion piece. That's where we started out, and we were never leaving there.
Right.
However, because of our technology and our goals, we're also developing based on needs that we're finding through partnerships with operators and owners. Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
So,
That's great. So what is the most common question or problem, if you will, do your clients come across in asking you questions about the insurance?
well, it's kind of
Mm-hmm.
twofold there. I would say for our residents, it's why do I need this?
Right.
Why is it important to me? And that's allowed us the space to, we really are staffed with agents that are as passionate, maybe even more than myself,
Right.
with educating folks. So it's helping others understand why insurance is important to them. And then, now that I've stepped into this role, it just began in January of 2025 of working more with our operators and owners of community space. It's how do we enforce our lease addendum that says you must carry insurance?
Right.
And then how do we make sure that we're protected?
Right.
Um, and that is where we developed the Maple program, which addresses all three of the needs through technology. So it will help residents obtain their own insurance, and then ensure that the operators are covered against
Mhm.
negligence on the resident side, but then also help them monitor and track resident insurance. We
Right.
have technology here. Let's use it. Let's develop it. And that's really what we're doing. And so the vision, I don't know where it ends, Marissa,
Mhm.
but we will just continue to address the needs and bring the technology to ease all of the scenarios, regardless of whether we're working with residents or owners and operators.
I love it. I love it. So if I'm a resident, why do I need manufactured home insurance? Why? Why would I need that?
It's a great question. Typically, our homes are our biggest investment that we make in our lifetime, right?
Absolutely. Hmm.
And we want to be sure that in case the unforeseen happens, you can get back into like and kind. So
Yeah.
I do find myself explaining quite often that insurance is not meant to be a maintenance policy. So we aren't going to be able to help with things that occur, normal wear and tear.
Right.
But if the fire is set and the house burns down, well, most of us can't afford to replace that on our own, right?
Right. Right.
Or we would have to dig deep um, into our savings account to do so. So that's the point of insurance. You want to make sure that in case of the unforeseen, your home as well as your personal belongings are protected and you can
Mm.
replace them.
Gotcha.
The
That's
other
that's
piece
that's
that's
easy to understand though, right? That's the way you delivered it. That's easy for somebody to understand. Like, you're right. You're right. You're right.
The other piece that's really important is liability. So again, protecting against the unforeseen. I can't express enough how if you talk to anybody that's been under a liability suit, they would say, I never thought this would happen.
Famous
So
last
you
words,
can
right?
fill in the blanks, dog bites. Well, one of the things that our operators have understood is they may not, it may not be the resident's dog. They don't have a vicious dog, but they had a friend come over.
Right.
And then their dog bit another resident. I mean, these things happen every single day. And so that, along with the physical protection of your home as well as your personal belongings, that liability is covered to protect your assets. Because
Right.
unfortunately, we're in a litigious society, Marissa.
Yes.
You never know what people are going to sue you for. And honestly, those jurors just love to indemnify. So let's make sure that you protect all of your assets and also could be, get back into like in kind in case the unforeseen happens. Yeah.
That is so true. And a good example is yesterday, my husband and I were visiting my aunt and uncle, and we were walking back to the car, and it was late. And all of a sudden, my husband's like, "Be careful with the dogs." Six of these dogs broke out of a house, out of the door, and they came rushing. Of course, I freaked out. I freaked because I don't know what these dogs are going to do. They were big dogs. And my husband like, just relax. And so like he went like the dog whisperer and calmed them all down. And he was like, just get in the car. And then he, calmly got in the car. But you're right. I mean, we don't know. Those dogs could have attacked one of us. They could have bit us. I mean, we were just going to our car one evening, and you're right. It could happen. It could happen. That's a great, yeah, good point. Good point. So, with the demands of personal life, your career, family, how do you juggle all that?
Well, I'm I love to learn. And so honestly, I'm tapping into all the resources given my family, my friends, as well as my new friend Marissa. I'm constantly intrigued and learning from others, and I just figure it out. I do live and die by my calendar. There's so many wonderful platforms out there that are meant to keep you on track.
Right?
But I have found that the calendar is what works for me to keep everything on track and in line. So our family shares a Google Calendar. We
Yes.
also have a calendar hanging up downstairs right below the whiteboard that has everything important highlighted. And then in my day-to-day professionally, I do also make sure that everything is there to prompt me for my next step on the Google Calendar
I get it.
as well.
Believe me. Yes, 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 I get it. We all live busy lives, and us too. We have three boys, and the business, and my husband travels a lot, and now I'm starting to travel with him. And so, yes, we have all the important dates up, and all the alerts go off a day before, 2 days before, so we don't forget. Yes, I totally understand that. What do you do to unwind, to relax after a busy, stressful day?
Well, I escape to the outdoors. I'm an avid hiker. I am fortunate enough to live in Boise, Idaho, and the state itself embraces the great outdoors, but we have hiking trails within 5 minutes, plus a beautiful neighborhood that we are fortunate enough to live in. So that's really how I hit the unwind button, and I don't wait until the end of the day. One of the better improvements that I made in my day to day was adding a walk, either early on or midday.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, as well as getting out once, the day is over. But it really does, that midday walk does help me refresh and get after that latter part of the day. I'm an early morning person, so
Okay.
I am one of those annoying folks that hops out of bed like, let's go. However, the energy level does tend to dwindle.
Yeah,
So it's one of those
absolutely.
things that has just been so impactful for me. And it's an easy fix. I would hope that most people could just get outside. But even during the weather, our company as a whole has we've all invested in the walking pads that fit
Oh,
right under
nice.
the desk.
Yes, I love
So
those. Are you on it right now?
I'm not I didn't figure that was the time, Marissa. But they are really nice to have, especially when you're when the weather's not so supportive of getting out. I would highly recommend it. They're very inexpensive.
Yes.
And our company works remote. And so we've even embraced more of a competitive approach so you can keep your team motivated by having those walking pads as well.
I love it. It's something actually we discussed last week. I told my husband because there was a day we had like six back-to-back Zoom calls, right? I mean, and that was like our whole day at the desk. And I was just like, we're not used to that. I'm used to being very active and going and going and going. And so I said, "Oh, I can't do this. We're going to have to get those things. We're going to have to get the risers so that we can sit there and we can be walking, doing something because this is just, we like to go to the gym and we try to go to the gym every day just to get some kind of physical activity because you're right. Before you know it, you've sat in your chair for 6 to 8 hours. You're like, oh my gosh, it's dinner time. And then you're just exhausted, right? You're ready to go to bed. So, yes, I'm going to invest. And the second I get it, I'm going to take a video of myself and I'm going to send it to you so that you can
I
cheer
love
me
it.
on.
Yes, yes.
I
I will
love
say
that.
one of the other things, and I just thought of this, that I really have said it's my favorite piece of technology over the last 10 years was investing in the iWatch or the Apple Watch,
The Apple
sorry.
Watch. Yeah.
And it actually keeps me motivated and it will tell me when I need to stand up. So I do have the rising desk that'll go
Yes.
up and down throughout my day. And then, I mean, I told the watch to tell me, but it's really nice. It reminds me just in case,
Yes.
I'm really focused and I forget that I need to stand, it'll tell me that. And it tells me how many steps I've made, and then it celebrates things with me. So
Yeah.
if you're into technology, the Apple Watch is certainly worth the investment.
It's a good motivator. I have one. And let's see, a couple months ago, there was about five friends and I that all joined our watches together and we challenged each other. We did a weight loss. Oh, you had to work. There was like several things you had to do daily, right, in order to hit the goal for the day. And so we did it, but man, that watch would go off. I'm like, okay, I need to go walk certain number of steps. Okay, I need to go back to the gym. I need 45 more minutes at the gym, right? But it did. It motivated me. And I'm so competitive that if I would see somebody ahead of me, I'm like, okay, no, I'm going to go do something else because but you're right. It does. It motivates you. It reminds you. And it's constantly going off when I'm here at the office. You need to stand up. You need to stand up. I'm like, I know, but I can't stand up just yet. But you're right.
Yes.
It's a good reminder. I love it. Yes, I love it. So, talk to us about some of the challenges you have in your industry, in your line of work, in insurance. I know there's a lot of challenges anyway in the manufactured housing industry, right? And we always talk about, it's a man's world in that industry, right? In the sales part of it and stuff. But tell me some challenges you see in the insurance side of it.
I always say as long as we've set the appropriate expectations, we can overcome any objections,
Mm,
right? And so I think one of the challenges we face right now is our environments, regardless of where you live, are changing, and they're changing drastically
right,
to the point where actuarial data for the insurance side, I mean, that's what we lean on, right? When
right,
we
right.
create a premium and it's attached to your home, it's because of all the data
Mhm.
that has come to this point and allows us to put a dollar amount towards it, right?
Right.
And so, because of the environmental changes, and I'll just stick with weather, that's the easiest one for all of us to understand because we've all experienced these changes. It's really the insurance industry is struggling to keep up because things are changing drastically
So, yeah.
now. I mean, that's my perspective. But it seems to be the truth. So we can talk about hurricane season that is now, when did it start? May, and it goes all the way through November. That's long.
That's a
And
long
so
time.
now we have to adjust premiums, and people are
Yeah.
frustrated
Right.
because in the Southeast, along the coast, we do our best to price, But then what it does is it actually puts the insurance carriers into more reactionary, and they don't like that. Nobody likes that. But then that's when we see the big price increases
Right.
because the insurance industry is just trying to adjust. So
Yeah.
it's getting folks to understand. That's the biggest thing that we have to overcome is getting them to understand why it's important, but also why is it priced in this
The way it
manner.
is. Yeah. Yep. So how do y'all go about doing that? Is there a way? I mean, do you send out emails? Do you send out information? How do y'all go about doing that? Because I know on our side too, right? We have a sales company and it's hard for some people to understand like, why would I want to invest in myself? Why would I want to get better, right? Why would I want to take your course? So how do y'all go about doing it?
We start at day one with the conversation. So, a piece of the education, Marissa, that we as agents are sure to get through to every person that either gets a quote from us or purchases a policy is going back to why is this important and how can it impact me? So while we've talked about the larger portions of the policy being, you preserving your home as well as your personal belongings, when we're speaking to a resident, we actually go through all coverages, which depending on what they choose or the direction they want to go can
Right?
be anywhere from, maybe 10 to 15 coverages.
Wow.
So I call it hedging against the objection, but really what we're doing is educating them and telling them, okay, the resident, this is why this coverage is important to you.
Right.
And this is what could happen if you don't have it.
Yeah.
So I mean, it all goes back to education and setting the right expectation. And then when we have folks that are surprised by maybe a renewal, that's still an individual conversation, and our team is willing to have it every single time.
I
We
love
get
that.
it. We understand the frustration of increased premiums. I don't want my premiums to go up.
Right.
I don't want anybody's to, but
Yeah.
we
Nobody
have
does, right?
I mean, that's a fact. We none of us
Yes.
appreciate it. However, we will have the individual conversations, and we have them every day about why we're facing increases. Yeah.
I love that though. I love that your team and your company are out there educating people, right? Because I feel like that's what we're also lacking in our industry as a whole, right? You still have those people that are shaming our industry, right?
Mm.
Thinking that our homes are less than. And so I feel like that's a big thing that we need to do in our industry is we need to educate people on, on all the different sides of our industry, whether it's, with you insurance or with us, the housing and the training part of it. I think that is just so important. I think that's out of all the industries, I think we are at the bottom where we do not educate and advocate enough for this industry because it is a great industry. So yeah, I agree with you. And I love that everybody in your company feels the same and has the same vision of educating. I think that's so important. That's the only way people are going to know and do it. I love that. So, let's see. Have you had any mentors in the industry? Have you had anybody that has inspired you?
Oh my goodness.
So
Let me
many.
get to the second part. I
Okay.
am inspired daily. I'm inspired by human beings. I've been
Oh, I love
inspired
it.
by you, Marissa.
Oh, thank
I
you.
really think that every human being has so much to offer. So inspiration, we need to educate, but we also need to listen. And I learn from others all the time, every day. And I think that's, one of our gifts as human beings. Mentors, I over the years, absolutely. There's so many. It's kind of difficult to call all of them out, but what I would say is I am fortunate to have a mother that mentors me, and we've never lost that mother-daughter relationship, but
Oh, I
it's
love that.
shifted, and now she is open and with her recommendations and help. I also have a really good friend that motivates me each week on in business and in my professional life. Her name is Sarah, and then my husband. My husband is my partner, my best friend in life, and we work through all the things together. And he is such a great sounding board and will offer his thoughts
Yeah.
whenever I ask for it. So I would say that that question, I could go on and on. But I just appreciate anybody that's willing to help another, and we encounter that every day.
Yeah.
We do stuff we
I,
need to.
I agree with you. My parents were both very involved in my life, right? Have still are. My dad has since passed, but they were both inspired me. I didn't realize it back then, right? Growing up, but now looking back, I'm like, oh wow, that's why they wanted me to do that, or that's why they used to tell me that, right? And now it is my husband, right? I watch him daily working on our business. I watch him constantly educating himself, making sure that he stays on top of everything. He's actually, a boots on the ground kind of person. I know that when I'm having a bad day or there's something I'm not sure about, he's definitely the one, my go-to person, right? To make sure that that whatever I do is not me just being crazy, right? Like somebody else to help me think it through, right? Before I
Absolutely.
just say
Yeah.
something or do something that later I'm going to be like, I should have never said or done that. And then sometimes we both laugh and we say, you know what? We're going to agree to disagree because sometimes we just can't find that middle ground for each other, right? We give he'll say, babe, this is what I think. And then I'll say, yeah, but I think this. And he's like, well, I'm just telling you what I think. And so, we'll meet in the middle or we'll just say, you know what, let's agree to disagree. And I think as we've gotten older, we are each other's soundboards, right? And it's not like, well, I have to be right or I have to be right. It's just like we help each other along the path, because life is already hard as it is. It's not easy, and there's not very many people that you can look at and be inspired by. Like I am inspired by you and the things that you have to say, right? And you never know what other people are going through, right, in life. And so just to learn, that was something that I always have told my oldest, like, yeah, they may be in their 60s or 70s, but those are the people you want to talk to. They have
Mhm.
so much life experience. They have so much knowledge, and they'll share their stories with you so openly and willingly. And I know that my 19-year-old a couple years ago did a documentary on a lot of vets from the armed forces, and what he learned, he was just overwhelmed. He's like, Mom, I'm like, I told you they want to tell their stories, and those are the ones that we kind of forget about, right? Like the older people that have what we need nowadays. So yeah, I there's a lot of people that inspire me, and sometimes it's not even hard to find, right? If you just go on social media, you can find something, you're like, yes, you read something or you see a video, you're like, okay, that's what I needed. I'm ready to go. So, and I know that when you and I chatted, we chatted about starting a community, a text message community, right? And we're still going to do that. I'm just making sure that all the people that want to be involved are involved in that. And that way, it's just a place for us women to go and celebrate each other, celebrate each other's wins, or even just say, hey, today was not a good day. I did not start my morning off right. I need someone to give me a boost or send me a quote or send me a video inspiring me to finish out my day strong, right? So I'm really excited, and